Hey yo fellow Autobots, Decepticons, trans fans, Legonians, and Brick fans. This is Dave Frost reporting in once again with the next part or portion, the next day of 1 week of destruction. This is Hook. And he is a crane vehicle, as you can already tell by the crane that he has. Unfortunately, it doesn't have the extension capability. That's just molded in detail right here, where it just shows like it can go out, but it can't. But as you saw, it can lift up that high. And unfortunately, there's no rotation here in the back, like a usual crane vehicle would. And unfortunately, the wheels can roll, but there's robot kibble that is also on the ground at the same time. So now let's bring in some comparisons. So we have the crew of the Constructicons that I've already reviewed so far. We have Hook, we have Mixmaster, we have Scrapper, and we have the big guy, Long Haul. And again, as I'm probably going to be mentioning in every video, that they're all Voyager class, but I actually don't need to because I've already said it enough times. Why continue saying it unnecessarily? So we have the fellow Constructicon vehicle mode comparisons. Now, if you notice, he has a lot of light green, black, silver, and purple all over him. And there's his Decepticon symbol on his vehicle mode. But one thing I recognize is that the cockpit windows, both here and here, their shade of purple on the windows are different from this section of Hook's vehicle mode. And there's a lot of detail as well throughout the vehicle, like ladders on the sides in the middle, the headlights, the grill. Well, not really much of a grill, but that would be either the area for the license plate or the engine grill. Engine. Where the engine of the vehicle is located. And then several tail lights back here. Alright, so now let's go on to another vehicle comparison. Here I have Hightower, who is an Autobot from the build team from Robots in Disguise 2001 version of the Transformer TV shows. And you can tell that he is also a deluxe class, like his teammates, like his fellow teammate Heavy Load from yesterday's review. And you'll see his two other teammates in tomorrow's video and Friday's. And without taking Hightower's cab all the way off. You can rotate that section, but it's mostly supposed to stay still. But we're not talking about Hightower, we're talking about Hook. So obviously Hook beats Hightower in vehicle form, in all sorts of ways of being higher, wider, and longer. And also that Hightower has one cockpit, where Hook has two. Alright, so now let's go into robot mode. So what you want to do is come to the bottom of the vehicle, and automatically you see his head, which doesn't really have anywhere to be stored at, except for that area. Like, you don't hide it away, you don't flip it downward, you don't push it down and pull it up, you just leave it as is. So, what you want to do is remove the crane, fold down the feet. Oh, I see how that's supposed to happen. You bring down the front of the lower leg sections, and you fold out the feet. And you also have to separate the front of the vehicle mode and disconnect the two halves of the front of the vehicle mode from each other. And then you want to make sure that this tab goes into the back of the leg area, into the portion that is the front of the vehicle mode. It doesn't really specifically tab in anywhere, it just hides away. If I can get it to do that. There we go. Same for the other side. Now you bring back, well, you leave the crane up. Bring down the arms. And fold out the hands. And click those into place. And take the backpack on this double hinge, making sure everything's correct. And since he has a backpack, he's going to be back heavy. But that's where the crane comes back in, because it's like a third leg. So that he actually balances up correctly. And like the other Constructicons, you recognize that there's a lot of red, gold, black, purple, silver, and light green. Apparently all Constructicons have the same colors for their robot modes. And there's his robot mode Decepticon logo below his chest. Now for articulation. So his head can look up that far up and that far down, so it's not much. And it does rotate 360 degrees. But unfortunately, when he's going to look to the sides or behind him, his backpack is going to be in the way. So it's not much to work with. Come to the shoulders. There is 360 shoulder rotation, but the backpack also gets in the way of that as well. So he can only bring out his arms out that far. But he also can bring out his arms out that far by tilting it, as it were. And this is what most of the Constructicons have, where they have their elbows on a hinge, but there's a missing gap in between the upper arm and the lower arm. And there's also 360 elbow rotation. And there's no rotation at the wrists. Unfortunately, due to transformation. Move the arms out of the way. And you have that much of the leg going out to the side. And with the crane remaining in the middle, he can bring out his leg that far back. And that far forward. So there would be 360 hip rotation, but there's just too much stuff in the way. And there's even ankle tilt as well, where the foot goes inward. And there's also knee bendage, but it can only lift up the upper leg that far up. Oh, it actually could go all the way up. And unfortunately, it can only bring his leg, his lower leg, that far up. He can, that's as straight as he can get his lower leg to be because of the vehicle mode kibble behind the knee. And that's about it for articulation. Unfortunately, you did not see the leg or the ankle tilt. And that's really all there is. So, So now we're going to compare robot modes. So we have Hook, Mixmaster, Scrapper, Long Haul. Oh, you can't even see Long Haul. What the heck? There we go. You can kind of see him. That's funny. Like you can see his Decepticon symbol and his head behind Scrapper and Mixmaster. Then we also have Hightower, who's like I said, deluxe class. And then there's little Shockwave, the legend class. I no longer need to bring in Onslaught, because he's just the same size as all the Constructicons. So now let's take everyone out of the picture. You know, knock them out. No. Just gonna put them off to the side. Apparently. So now that we have Hook alone, we can now change him into combination mode. And there will be some parts here and there that I'm going to leave out for the final video on Saturday. So it's not going to be his complete combination mode. It's going to be most of it. So what you want to do is basically revert him back to vehicle mode. So now he's in vehicle mode, and we're going to split him in half. So what you need to do is take his robot mode hands, fold them down, split the two light green half portions, and connect them side to side, and put the hook down. The crane boom. And you basically now have him in combination mode. So like I said, I'm not going to expose everything just yet until Saturday. Like for instance, what is in this area here. I'm just going to leave him like this and wrap it up. So I thank you all for watching. Please stick around for more great LEGO and Transformer content coming to the future of this channel. Have a good rest of your night. Have a good rest of the week. And I will see you all later as we continue tomorrow with Scavenger, who is going to be part 5. Of the 1 week of destruction. And that's pretty much it. So, good night.